Hey guys, welcome to another review here on Edar Gaming, where I'm talking about Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster that I've just completed. And I just want to say thank you for all your support on the series and my channel. Please subscribe if you have not, and go check out the other Final Fantasy videos that I've got. But yeah, we're going to talk about Final Fantasy V, and what a game! What a game! I am telling you, oh man, it was awesome. I really enjoyed it, if you can not tell. I feel like they've taken the jobs from Final Fantasy 3 and they've improved it in every sort of element. They don't feel so random. They have extra little bits, and I think it's really good. We'll talk about a bit again later. And then they also realised Final Fantasy 4 really sold well because of the story. So then they've made sure they've kept a proper story. And I think it was great. Awesome. So I guess review done. Thanks for watching. No, stay there, please. Come back. We're not quite done. There are a few little bits to talk about, I think. So we'll obviously discuss them, the normal format of gameplay and story. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the game. So we will go in, start with gameplay, I think. Um, like I said, I feel they've fixed a lot of the issues with the jobs. In Final Fantasy 3, the jobs kind of they felt like there was these secondary jobs that you just didn't use and were not very useful. You just sort of got through with the traditional main jobs from Final Fantasy, knights, like dragoons, mages, you know that kind of thing. You felt like you went with the main ones. This one, I felt like there was more uses in other jobs. Not all of them, but nearly all of them except Berserker. Berserker's crap. Oh my god, it's crap. I did not know what the use for that was. Um, but it felt like if you knew when to use them, they all could help you at certain times and certain circumstances for sure. There were certain battles that if you used the right job, you could just kick its ass. But you had to use them. But there was a few jobs, things like Bard and Dancer, that I was kind of leaving till the end. I wasn't really going to ever use them. And then when I came around to actually using them and just sort of leveling them up, they weren't bad actually. They gave you something. And I think the other good thing with the jobs is you learnt the skills and you remembered them. So then you could build these kind of like move sets with your characters, which were awesome. You could have like dual cast and then all the magic and then spellblade and quick attack. You could have double handed. You could create all these little things and make yourself proper overpowered if you knew what you were doing. I kind of stuck a little bit to the dual cast and the mime, if I'm honest. I wasn't totally sure how to do all the others. Especially, I really wanted to do rapid fire like spellblade to fight some things, but I never really quite managed to get it to work. But hey ho, I still enjoyed it. Um, yeah, and the battle system, it was really smooth. It felt like a good proper Final Fantasy, ATB, turn-based sort of battle system. The one that comes forward for Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and 9. It felt a lot like that, and it was good, smooth. I enjoyed it. One issue with the sort of gameplay was you could enter some areas a bit early, and then you got wiped out, and it felt like you were meant to go there. Things like the legendary weapons, you could unlock. It let you get the tablet to then unlock them, and then you went and unlocked them. And the first couple of times you went in the dungeon to unlock them, the enemies in there, if you got a fight with them and couldn't escape, oh my god, they literally could just wipe you from the face of the earth. They were ridiculous. And then towards the end, you were able, and they were a challenge, but you could do it. So I felt that was a little weird. And then there was the little squirrel things. The little squirrel. Oh my god, those squirrels. Oh my god. They were atrocious. And then in the end, you just wiped them out. But anyway, I mean, that wasn't the biggest issue. The biggest issue for me was the final boss. So the interdimensional rift was huge. I like split it into two videos. It was huge. It was gonna be like 2 hours long. It's ridiculous. And it was really difficult in there. It was a challenge, I would say. That place good for a final dungeon. Yeah, very good. And then you go to final boss, and you've been building up for him the whole entire game. You're gonna fight this guy X Death. You've had a couple of battles with him, and he's wiped the floor with you, or he's killed a character. And things like that. And then you fought him. The first battle, Wasn't anything special, but it felt like it was building up. It was like, you knew there was going to be a multi-phase fight. So the first battle wasn't, anything special. But he had some strong attacks and you went through it. And then he transforms into his Neo X Death form, which is meant to be his like ultimate form. Um, and basically, I just spammed. I did a couple of flares at the start, but then I just did double cast Bahamut and then mimed it with everybody over and over again. And he only hit me once and did 500 damage. And at which point, I think I have about 3,500, 4,000 HP. So it's not something to worry about. And I just absolutely trashed him. I mean, it might have been a bit repetitive to watch, and I'm a bit sorry for that. But it was so damn easy to do that then. I was just like, why? So disappointing. And then he mentions something at the end, and it feels like maybe as though like the typical twist second enemy in Final Fantasy would appear and come down. It would feel a bit Final Fantasy 9-ish where they sort of come out of nowhere, but he kind of hints about, there's this extra power and stuff, and maybe that is what it would have been. But it doesn't happen. The game just ends. And I felt disappointed. I'm not going to lie. It felt like such an anticlimax. It wasn't difficult. Now, in the interdimensional rifts, there's two like super bosses. Not two. Omega and I have no idea how you pronounce it. It was like the zombie dragon thing. And they creamed me. Absolutely creamed me. So I definitely would need to level up. I don't know. Do you guys want to see me fight them? If you want me to go back and do it, and I'll have to have leveled up, obviously off screen, I do a bit of grinding, and then I can go fight them. If you guys want to see me do that, let me know below. But yeah, I just say that I felt like you could also see more power from the SNES than you could in the other Final Fantasies. All the characters, I mean, you're not seeing emotion, but they were allowed to have a little bit more emotion. They could change their face. They would have these surprise faces and things. And obviously not amazing, but it was just that little better. And I feel like you could just sort of see the improvements from Final Fantasy, especially 1, obviously. But like from Final Fantasy 3, 4, and 5, each one felt like it had a little bit more power. The game got a little bit more detailed. And I feel like 5 was really quite good. I enjoyed it immensely, even if it is an old game. I still think it was really good. But let's talk about the story. So, obviously, I've said the story is good, and it's still character driven, like Final Fantasy 4 was. Um, but while the gameplay benefited from the job improvements, I feel like it still struggles on the story side. I know I've said this before, and it might be a totally personal gripe, but it is still one that I feel that when your characters can change jobs and they don't really have a job, it impacts the story, in my view, and how those characters are driving the story. I think they did a good job considering, but spoilers, just spoilers. Uh, the crystals losing their power and breaking. 4 warriors of light to save it. Oh, we've heard that before, haven't we? It's happened quite a lot in the Final Fantasy. But that's kind of where it changes a little bit. It turns out there's once the four crystals that you couldn't save have been destroyed, it released an evil, which usually it doesn't quite release the evil. It kind of is just stopping it. But yeah, it released an evil who then was trying to get some power and then escaped to another world, which was slightly weird. So then you go to that other world, and it turns out actually the two worlds are the same world, and they got split when this guy was imprisoned, and effectively the world you started on was the prison, and it probably shouldn't have the people on. And then you accidentally destroy the 4 crystals on the new world. Bear with me, I'm getting there. X-Death, the bad guy, also kills one of your party while he was trying to save his granddaughter. So his granddaughter joins your team. The worlds get merged, so you're kind of back on the original world, really. I feel like the second world is merged back into the first. I feel like that's how it's meant to be. And then you obviously then have to stop X-Death, who is trying to get into the interdimensional rift to release this big evil, and he says release this big evil, and I think power himself up to get the power of this evil. Hence why I was saying it felt like there was going to be like another boss at the end, as though the evil you would then fight, but you don't. So yeah, there's that, and then it turns out your, I would say, main character is kind of how it's meant to be. Bart's dad was one of the guys who trapped this guy. The guy who dies, Guluf, whose granddaughter then joins. He was another one of the people who imprisoned him originally, and then there's two others who are just, they're around, and then you meet them, but you know they're not thingers. And it turns out the two female characters are sisters, Faris and Lena, and they're princesses. But Faris was lost when she was younger. I can't remember exactly. I can't remember. I think she falls out of a boat, and then grows up as a pirate. So she doesn't really know. So she's quite cool. She's quite a good sort of character. But so when I'm saying that, I feel like they should have a character sort of job to reflect their personality. It can help the story. So if you can change jobs a lot, you are not something in particular. There are certain characters who are stat wise pointed towards certain things. Bart has more strength. Lena has better magic, so you kind of see where they're going to be going. But you can change them and do whatever. You could have Bart as a dancer and Lena as a dragoon, as much as you want. Whereas in Final Fantasy IV, obviously Cecil is a Dark Knight and then a Paladin. That's his story. That's his journey. There's the Summoner has a journey. The Dragon. They all have their own little journey, and part of it is what their job is doing. I feel personally, anyway. Whereas in this, they did quite a good job, but like Bart's has a little one-on-one fight at one point. If he was meant to be the strong guy, the knight, then maybe they could have had a sword fight, and you could have had a proper like boss battle of it. But if you're going in there as like a mage, maybe you could wipe the floor with this guy, or you get killed because your defenses are low, sort of thing. You know, uh, Faris as the pirate, maybe she could be like a thief and quick and agile, and maybe she could steal something for you. Like you need a key, and she goes and steals it from a guarded area because she's learned these skills as a pirate. Um, and that could then play into her character build in battles. And it's just like, when you've then got jobs which are a knight, thief, mage, and things like that, it'd be weird if Faris then went and acted like a thief, but you spent your whole time her being a mage or strong characters. And for me, that, the in Final Fantasy VI, I think the jobs are all a bit more. Everyone has their kind of like role. 7, 8, and 9. I know you can give them lots of different things, and the jobs are not as defined, but in a way they still are. The characters themselves have sort of thing. Cloud has his sword. He has his Buster sword. That's him. Squall has his gunblades. Dan is a thief. You see what I mean? And that's the only thing for me. I feel like the stories are lacking a little bit when it does that sort of specifically. Um, Sorry, I'm just moving my notes down a little bit because I quite a brain bear with this. So yeah, I like it when they move the stories like that. It's very enjoyable for me. But overall, I think they did a really good job with the story. I did get involved uh, in terms of it, and you sort of get invested in the characters. So it was still pretty good, and I do recommend doing it. The story at the end, the final bit where it shows everybody being happy again and how the world is back to normalish, that I didn't really enjoy because I think I was so disappointed in the boss fight, the final boss fight. It ruined the last bit. But that maybe is just me. I don't know. Maybe you guys enjoyed it. Let me know. But anyway, overall, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I think this is the best Final Fantasy of the Pixel remasters so far. I know 6 is meant to be incredible, but I've never played it more than I think the first dungeon. Anyway, but I think for me at this moment in time, Final Fantasy 5 is fantastic. Go play it. I think it does everything about as well as it can. I think to get the story better, you'd have to change the jobs. That for me would fix it, and I'm hoping that's what Final Fantasy 6 does. But considering that sort of offset, for me, that is as good as a game I think they could really make at the time. But yeah, I recommend playing this. Either download the Pixel Remaster on like Switch. I think all of them you can just download the one. If you don't want to download all six and obviously play all six, which I think you should do. For me, the Pixel Remaster is the better thing to play because you can boost. And I'd recommend not boosting your level, boost your ABP. So you master more jobs and you get through the jobs much quicker because that I think gives the most enjoyment. Don't just grind a load of levels by putting like 4 times experience on. I don't think you need it. So that would be my recommendation, but you can get it on a mobile and I don't think it has the boost things. The game will still be really good, but maybe you'll have to be a little bit cleverer on which jobs you use, and it could take quite a long time to fully sort of level up all the jobs. Um, I just think that's the case. Obviously, you could come and do it in the post game, which I might do with those two super bosses. But just get the game, play it, and then let me know below what you think. Come back, send me a message, let me know what you think about this game. If you played it originally, also let me know what you think. Did you enjoy it? And oh yeah, subscribe to the channel because Final Fantasy VI will be coming soon, the final Pixel remaster. So thanks for watching my little brain dump, guys. I hope you enjoyed the series and you stay around for more here on Ed R Gaming. Cheers, guys.